suck you, na 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 na, my center of gravity, cause it's true, na na na, everything they say about me. I'll love you like a supernova, burned into you like a shooting star. Always craving for you to come to me, though this way of life, no, it ain't healthy, but ain't no other way, it's just what I need. I want all your soul, I want your body. I'm the type that licks her play clean. Don't wanna let out, one of you can eat. If you gave me your whole life, I would still have room for more, cause I've got that appetite. Baby, I never feel whole. You might get me through the night, but it will never be enough. It will never be enough. Cause I'm a black girl for your love. It's true, no, 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 everything they say about me. I'll love you like a supernova, burn into you like a shooting star. If you give me your whole life, I would still have room for more, cause I've got that appetite. Baby, I never feel whole. You might get me through the night, but it will never be enough. It will never be enough. Cause I'm a black girl for your love.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to TTML. We are here for Division 1 action. It is Season 3 as we take in the Australian Grand Prix from the Albert Park circuit here in Melbourne, Australia. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream as my first commentary as TTML head commentator. Had to get a bit of self-promotion in there. And joining me in the commentary box is the new voice of co-commentary on Tuesday night. It is Mr. Luke Etheridge. Luke, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Good evening, James. Good evening to everyone who's watching. Really looking forward to getting this brand new season of TTML Division 1 underway. It's amazing to think we're already on to Season 3. And I'm interested to see how the drivers do tonight, because they've not had a break to recover from. If they've had a bad end to Season 2, they've got to get straight back on it. Can't dwell on that. No long few weeks breaks for them to go and, well, relax however you can relax nowadays, but there we go. They've just got to get straight back in it and hope for a good start to the season.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating, I think, to see. Of course, there's been no pre-season, no preparation really, apart from loads of time trial laps, I think, on this game for all of the drivers out on track. And you might be wondering who we have got for you in terms of the driver lineup. Then let's have a look. In the Mercedes, we have Twitch, Lemon and Venoms. In the Ferrari, we have defending champion Perpetum and Carlsbury. In the Red Bull, we've got XL Noon and URL Matthias. In the McLaren, it's Volbeeg and Laser. In the Force India, the Racing Point, not the Force India, Medium Impala and Lyronics, first mistake of the night. There'll be plenty more of those. Verstappen in the Alfa Romeo alongside Kern. Armady and Venom in the Renault, with Bullet Boy and F1W in the Haas. Recon and Mashiro in the Williams. and then Amazing Hour and Schiaparelli in the Williams. AlphaTauri, sorry, Recon and Mashiro. I got them mixed up. There was the same colours, and I thought, honestly. Reserves in the meantime, Cagino, Combi, Dotamo, Kilwer, De Keeper, Marco Botta, Spirus Virus, and Zwerdema. All, I've said it, haven't I? Zerdema out on track here, and Zerdema is actually one of the guys within the lobby as well. Let's have a look then at the track in question that faces the drivers out on track. 29 laps around this track, 18 minutes worth of qualifying, 5.3 kilometres in length. Just how difficult is this circuit for a season opener?
I mean, it's a traditional season opener, so you think the drivers would be used to it, but it's a very awkward track. I'm going to be perfectly honest, it's not one of my favourites on the F1 game, and I've been racing on F1 games for probably longer than some of these drivers have been alive, which makes me sound a lot older than I really am. But back in my day, there was no track limits and there was invisible walls on circuits, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, it's quite a tricky circuit. There's one corner in particular, I like to call them murder curbs on this game. Those curbs that if you hit, you are spinning off. And this track has one at the exit of turn 12, of course. As you head onto that final DRS straight, quite often you see drivers clipping the curb there. And of course, in real F1, it's the biggest crash I've ever seen without anyone actually hitting anything. Timo Glock in 2008 went so violently over the curb, I think he managed to rip 2 or 3 wheels off his car. That is a really tricky part of the track. And yeah, it is quite awkward. It's quite difficult to overtake as well, so qualifying will be crucial.
Luckily, I don't think we've got the physics that was in 2008 with Timo Glock having that moment. But there will be moments, I think, of people maybe going into the wall, maybe lose it on the curb, and unstable setups as well, which of course we'll come on to as we get in towards qualifying. Really happy to say we've got a full grid currently within the lobby, which is fantastic. And of course, it is going to be a fantastic night's worth of racing. Myself and Luke are going to be taking you through the action. Our departed colleague, of course, Kieran McGinley, no longer with us in TTML, but I'm sure he will be watching on and supporting all the way. My good old cool commentator friend. I hope he is really doing well, and hopefully everyone is keeping safe in these very troubled times. I'm not sure what to say now, because we've pretty much covered everything. As now we go towards qualifying. Nobody has started up just yet within the lobby, so it's going to be interesting to see. We've got no standings, we've got no constructor standings as well to show you, but what we can do is bring up who are our sponsors really tonight, and of course that is the IGK task system that we are going to be using. All of these guys in the lead up to this race have put their telemetry on. So, as us as commentators, you won't see this from your perspective as the viewers, but from our perspective, it gives you a lot more data to go on and a lot more refined commentary, hopefully. Now we say that, let's hope the system doesn't go down, with it now being 8 o'clock and it being race time. Luke, I'm going to come to you, though. Final 30 seconds before we get going. How are we going to see qualifying go?
Well, obviously, you've got last season's champion, Perpetuum, looking really good. Medium Pilot was up there as well. There's some really fast drivers here. Everyone, I think, will just be hoping for a clean qualifying session. You don't want to be starting at the back of the grid. The alternate strategy can work quite well on this game. We've seen that in future, in the past, I should say, and we're probably going to see it in the future as well. Really looking forward to how this is going to go.
It's going to be fascinating, isn't it? Buckle in, everyone. Season 3 of TTML is about to begin. And without further ado, let's get started. Let's get into qualifying. Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to TTML Season 3. We are here for Round 1 in Melbourne, Australia, as we take in the Albert Park circuit, of course, in Australia. There are 3 compound of tyres available, of course, out on track. The C2, C3 and C4. Better known to you and me, of course, as the hard, medium and the soft compound of tyre. We'll talk more about tyre deg as we go along. My name is James Head, of course, taking you through the action. Luke Etheridge alongside me in the commentary box. Let's have a look more in depth at this track in question. 5.3 kilometres in length, takes the drivers around 16 turns with 3 DRS zones. 1 down towards turn 1, 1 down towards turn 3 and 1 down up towards turn 13. Really difficult track for overtaking, really good in terms of unstable setups as well. And we could see that as we go, of course, out on track tonight. And without further ado, let's get started. Let's get into qualifying. And the first thing we can pick up on it is dry, which is very, very good, and it puts everyone on a level playing field.
Yes, definitely. Melbourne, known as a city where you can have 4 seasons in one day, and I'd love to see what a winter season's like in Melbourne, because I imagine it won't be too much colder than our springs and summers. Yes, I'll be very happy that it is going to be dry in qualifying. Like I said earlier, we do see alternate strategies quite a lot on the F1 game. I'll be surprised if we see many in this session, to be perfectly honest, or people purposely trying to go for the alternate strategy. Obviously, if they start out the top 10, you've got nothing to lose, but at some tracks this season, you might see drivers thinking, I'll try and qualify in the top 10 on those medium tyres. I think here it's too much of a risk and you've got too little to gain from that. There's quite a few drivers heading out onto circuit early. Perpetuum and Medium Pilot as well, 2 of those who of course were battling for the championship last season.
Yeah, Schiaparelli is the first, of course, out on track. Medium Pilot, though, of course, being out there. We'll focus on Schiaparelli. He's the first out on track currently. And you can see there he is in the Williams. We normally nickname him Bottle Lily, so I hope he really does not do that out on track tonight, because he has been producing some really good performances in other leagues as well. So it's going to be fascinating. We'll see as we come through turn 11 and 12 how this is going to be undertaken from the German. How, in terms of lap time, do you think we're going to get on?
I mean, some of the drivers are saying if Medium Pilot gets a 117, they're just going to end up quitting right now. I'd be very impressed if we got anywhere. I'd be very impressed if we got in that lap time. It depends on the track conditions as well. That's always a thing. We've got an air temperature of 19 degrees and a track temperature of 27 degrees, so it's probably good conditions to get a 117 because it's not too warm out there, so they'll be able to keep the tyres good over a full lap.
It is indeed, and let's get started then with Schiaparelli as he comes now down towards turn 1. Track map there just off to the right hand side. I will get rid of that. As you can see, the beautiful halo as it comes on. We're not doing this. Tom's doing it, of course, in the background. Down towards turn 3 then for Schiaparelli, and we'll see what he's like through the first sector split. Through then turn 4. Very tricky turn 4. Of course, Vettel lost his front wing back in the day. I think it was in 2010, if I'm not mistaken, on the season opener. Now through turn 5 and then up the hill towards turn 6. Through the first sector to 26.5, I think, through the first sector there from Schiaparelli, which is really good to see. To 26.2, in fact, on our telemetry as he now comes in towards the middle sector split. Now comes through turns 9 and then turn 10, and then on the run towards 11. That's XL Noon getting out of the way to the left-hand side of him, as now Schiaparelli runs towards turns 11 and 12. This is the most trickiest and fearsome corner on the track. He might have just invalidated that lap there coming through turn 11, and I think he has, because he has weaved now, and that indicates to me as if he's invalidated the lap. I will continue to ride on board with him nonetheless through turn 13, and now he is truly backed off the lap out on track, and Schiaparelli now done on his lap. Who was next up out on track? I think it's an Alpha Tauri, and I think it is Mashiro, is it, out on track?
I think it's Recon.
Recon into the pit lane as well. Typical.
Yeah, I think that turn 12's causing a few problems at the moment. We've got one of the Alfa Romeos coming around the final corner now. I think that is Verstappen. He's heading towards the line. He'll be pretty happy that he's just setting a clean lap at the moment. Medium Pilot's gone fastest. Verstappen goes into second, and already Medium Pilot looking very quick.
Yeah, 118.7 Perpetuum, 118.8 as well. So in terms of the tyre difference, or in terms of the difference out on track, I should say, 118.7, 118.8, it's about a tenth of a second in it. Mashiro there in third, Verstappen fourth. Looking at their first sector splits actually out on track, Medium Pilot set a 26 flat. Perpetuum actually was quicker in the middle sector on a 21.3, and then Medium Pilot with a 31.2. Bullet Boy has just gone third with a 118.9. We're on board with Carl Freeze. He now comes through the final corner in the Ferrari, and let's hope the Finn can deliver a good lap. He really came about in the last 2 races of the season. He really drove the socks off of his car. Now Carlsbury comes across the line. Doesn't set a respect for lap time, 120.5. I'm sure there'll be improvement. Amazing Hour, possibly a championship contender, and a 119 flat for Amazing Hour. He goes just in behind Lyronics, who returns, of course, to the league.
Yeah, not too bad performances at the moment. It's looking very close in that 4th to 6th at the moment, all in the 119.0s, and in fact Verstappen. So from Mashiro to Verstappen, you've got a tenth of a second separated everyone at the moment. Interestingly, Venom has gone for a set of the medium tyres. I'm very interested in seeing that. I think most of the drivers have now set their fastest lap. XL Noon, he's just heading around the final corner, so he's going to be coming up towards the line very shortly indeed, and he goes into 10th place on a 119.4.
I literally try to get him, and then he comes across the line, finishes 10th in the end with a 119.4. It's absolutely typical. I should be more on the spot. Recon is on an outlap there as well. Got Kern and Chapelelli also on outlaps currently, but that is really the first round of laps that are actually done. And it's Medium Pilot out on top from Perpetuum in second, Bullet Boy in third. Looking at everyone's tyre compound, Venom there in 15th position. He's about to come across the line to possibly improve on his lap. He does. He goes ahead of Carlsby by 0.03 of a second. So he goes 14th. He there is on the C3 compound of tyre. That's the mediums. C2, of course, I think is the softs, and C4 is the hards. Might be the other way around, as I've just clicked on in my head. But Venom coming there with a 120.5, not a bad lap. But, Luke, you are going to commentate us through a lap of Recon as he comes through the final corner.
Yes, I am. He's just backing off now, giving himself a nice bit of space very wisely. We'll see if he can get his way clean through this lap as he is going around the final corner now of the Albert Park circuit. First used in 1996, where Damon Hill took his first victory of a title-winning season into the chicane at turn 1 and 2. It is a DRS zone, but you don't really see too many overtakes in there. The drivers prefer to use this DRS zone on the run down towards turn 3. Quite a heavy braking zone as well, and sometimes you do see cars trying to go around the outside. Doing very clean at the moment is Recon, keeping it nice and tidy, as you would expect, although he gets a big run on that curve. And if you run a bit wider there is that raised curve, of course, which can really throw you off towards the wall. 26.218 through the first sector at the moment, so obviously up on his personal best, 2 tenths off what we saw from Medium Pilot earlier on, so he's going to need to improve a bit if he wants to go fastest. Goes a bit deep into the 9-10 chicane, which is always a slight danger of the circuit, that you can be a bit too greedy on the brakes. Now it's just all about full commitment. It's better going slow through 11 so you can go flat through 12. Keeps it nice and tidy. Very well done there from Recon. DRS over once again, turn 13. Not really a corner you'll see too many overtakes, and then it is this twisty end towards the lap. If you get stuck behind a car on older tyres, you can lose a lot of time just in these final few corners. 15 and 16 now. It's been a very solid lap from Recon. I've got to say, he just made that slight mistake in the first sector, runs a bit wide through the final corner, and he heads towards the finish line for Recon. A 119.0 from him. I think there's definitely a few places there where he could have picked up maybe an extra tenth or two.
There really definitely is, and I think he's in amongst the mould of Mashiro, of Lyronics, and of Amazing Hour. Yeah, I think through turn 11 and 12 was his really big, good point, I think, out on track. So we'll see how, of course, he can improve. A former TTL champion, of course, back in the day. Calsper and him, of course, forced out for the title, I think, in season 19, if I'm not mistaken off the top of my head. Verstappen has just come on to start a lap. Just trying to flick through and see who might be on one. I think Venom might be on one, as he has actually lost his front wing coming out of turn 13. Right side end plate damage on the car.
Yeah, TTG Venom, of course. This is going to get confusing with MCR Venom and TTG Venom. I've just realised that. Yes, big moment there. Bit strange to see it at that point of the circuit, although thinking that sometimes drivers do get a bit too heavy coming onto throttle out of turn 13, and you do see them spinning around. I think David Coulthard lost it in qualifying there 1 year, so he now heads into the pit. And you have got to be very careful with the pit lane here. 60 kilometres hour speed limit, a bit easier than some of the other tracks to get caught out.
Yeah, Zerdimer on a lap as he now comes through the middle sector. Pretty much halfway through qualifying. Medium Pilot out on top of Petum second, Bullet Boy in third. I think Medium Pilot might be the one that's behind him out on track. There is a racing point just in behind, so we'll come up with that shortly. But Zerdimer, as he now comes through towards the final couple of corners out on track in the Mercedes, halfway through, and he'd be hoping to try and get up. Of course, he was Division 2 last season, promoted up to Division 1 as a reserve. Now comes around the final corner to finish off his lap. What the lap time is, it's 13th, 119.6. Not a bad lap at all. Medium Pilot, it's a little ironic, sorry, he's starting off a lap, and Medium Pilot now round the final corner, coming across the line. Is he going to improve a 118.7? Yes, he does. 118.6. He improves by 73 hundredths of a second. So Medium Pilot on top. Perpetum there, though, is coming around the final couple of corners now. So let's see what the defending champion can do. And remember, we've got 3 champions here. Medium Pilot, Perpetum, and Mashiro, who, of course, was Division 2 champion last season. Perpetum, can he respond to Medium Pilot? Nearly 2 hundredths off. Goes second still. And there's a big gap between him and Bullet Boy. 0.3 of a second.
Yes, amazingly, Perpetuum's fastest in the first two sectors. It was just they lost about a tenth of a second in that final sector to Medium Pilot. Not a lot whatsoever, but these drivers are obviously so close at the moment that is making a difference. Lyronix, he's just ran very wide through turn 12. I was about to say he's gone faster, but he's preempted my commentator's curse then, and he's nearly lost it. Luckily for him, he does stay out the wall. I think Mashiro has invalidated as well, so some of the quicker guys seem to be struggling. At the moment, we've got XL Noon. He's on the lap now, currently making his way through Sector 1.
He is indeed, and so we now come on board with him, coming through Sector 1, and let's see what the Red Bull can do, of course. Currently in 13th, 26.209 through the first sector. Of course, he's on a set of soft compounded tyres. You can see it with the Red Bull there on that Red Bull. He now comes through turn 10, and on the King, not counted as a corner, this corner. He now runs up towards turn 11 and 12, 47.8 through the middle sector. That, in turn, though, is a 21.4 in the middle sector for Noon, so not a bad middle sector, of course, known as Killer Blue to you and me if you've commentated or if you've seen him before in League of Europe or in TTML. Used to be known as Killer Blue, now known as XL Noon, because he has joined, of course, the XL brand. Later, I think, going 14th there with a 119.3. Good luck from him, as now, round the final corner, comes Noon. He'll be looking to try and go into the sunset.
In the background, it does go to 10,000ths of a second, and unfortunately, we can't see it. But that is a big, big improvement from him. Not too far off Mashiro in 5th place as well. And it's interesting how many guys who were quick on the first run seem to struggle with just getting a clean second run whatsoever. We saw Bullet Boy invalidate, Mashiro, and Lyronix as well.
I think Recon's on a lap, if I'm not mistaken, as well, as he now comes through this middle sector. So let's see what he's doing through the middle sector. 25.9, 21.4 through the middle sector. So not a bad lap here so far from Recon, with 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Medium Pilot on top, Perpetuum in second, and Bullet Boy in third. Look at the gap, though, between Perpetuum and Bullet Boy out on track. Recon now through the final couple of corners. Let's see what the ex-champion of TTL can do as he runs around the final corner. We'll be expecting improvement as well from Amazing Hour later on in the session, I would imagine, as well. The homeboy in 9th currently. Recon across the line. He goes third. Splits in between. And, of course, Recon has joined the Shazoo team, if I'm not mistaken. So 118.7. Good lap from Recon there, and it puts him right in the mix.
Yes, you've got to say at the moment, Alpha Tauri looking pretty good with drivers in 3rd and 6th position. Racing Point as well, 1st and 7th at the moment. So interested to see these constructors battles maybe already starting, because you always want your teammate up there with you. At this early stage, there will be no team orders, obviously. Amadi has just slotted into 9th place, not too far behind XO Noon, and the gaps, they are really starting to close down. If you look at the top 18, separated by just over 7/10 of a second, then you have got Zydema and Venom just a bit further off, but I'm sure they'll be hoping to close up on these final runs in qualifying.
Well, Venom, of course, went on a set of medium compounded tyres, the Renault Venom, as we're going to call them. Venoms in the Mercedes went 11th with a 119.1. But now we're going to pick up with the Scotsman as Venom now comes around the final corner. 120.5 is his current best. We expect him to try and improve. I hope he doesn't invalidate coming through turns 1 and 2. Venom through turn 1, locks up through turn 2, runs over the curve nicely. Nearly did a commentator's curse there, but now runs down towards turn 3. Medium Pilot on top, Perpetuum second, Recon on third with 4 minutes to go in qualifying. Venom now round through turn 3, then through turn 4, really on the limit as he comes out of turn 4, now through turn 5, and then through the first sector split, and he spins the car and he's round. So unfortunately, he's lost his entire front wing as well, I believe, as well. So Venom now round. Just unfortunately, got caught in the curb coming out of turn 5, I think, and it spun the car.
Yeah, definitely. And unfortunate for Medium Pilot as well. He's nearly done the same through 9 and 10, and that's invalidated his lap time. He was 2/10 up on his personal best going through Sector 1, so a big shame for the guy currently on provisional pole position. He's currently, I think, rushing back to the pits maybe, or rushing to get onto another lap, because it is still possible with 3 minutes 20 remaining. And Matthias has decided that he's had enough, currently in 14th position, so he'll obviously get a fresh choice of tyres. And I think if Venom's pretty speedy here, and if the Renault pit crew can get a move on, he might just be able to get out in time. It is going to be extremely tight, though.
I think it's about a 45 to 50 second turnaround, if I'm not mistaken, on this game. So Venom, I think, will have enough time and then some to try and get a lap in. Even if he invalidates the lap that he's on, his out lap, then he'll come into the pit. He'll go out onto his proper lap, and now he comes into the pit lane. You can see on board But first man out on track, I believe, is Verstappen. He's currently in 12th position, the Dutchman. And let's see what the QVR man can do out on track. 119.121. Looking at the times, actually, Volbeek, who's just in behind him out on track, he's 13th. But he's 6 thousandths off. And you've got Venom all the way up to Mashiro, basically, 6th down to 13th, covered by a 10th of a second. And that's separating 8 drivers. Madness.
A madness indeed, and that's the thing, all the way down from, like as you said, Mashiro down to Verstappen as well, and Volbeek in 13th is only 0.101 seconds off. I'd rather be in Venom's, Verstappen and Volbeek's position than when I would in Noon's, Imadi's and Amazing Hour, because I'd want them 3 tyres at the start of the race, so they'll be obviously driving as fast as they can. I don't think they'd complain too much with Verstappen if he ends up staying round about 12 and gets that free choice of tyres.
Let's run on board with him then, as he now comes with the pit lane now emptying with the drivers. For Petem, of course, just coming out of the pit lane there. Through turn 1, through turn 2. Something looking a little bit overstretched there out of turn 1. He's got Carlsbury just in front of him, getting out of the way. I hope he doesn't get held up here with Medium Parlour in just in front of him. Medium Parlour gets out of the way neatly, coming through turn 4. And now Verstappen on a 119.1. What's he going to be doing through this first sector split? Of course, Matthias has retired from the session. Verstappen, 26.2 through the first sector. It's not too bad. It's not too quick, though. If I'm going to be honest, it's safe, I think, from Verstappen through the first sector as he now comes through towards turns 9 and 10. Hits the right-hander, then the left-hander, and gets very close to the wall on exit, and now runs towards turn 11, out on track. This is the fearsome middle sector split. That's coming up 47.7, I can see. Through the middle sector for Verstappen, it was a 21.4, so it's personal best through the middle sector. Is he going to try and improve and get into the mix? The likes of Mashiro, Lyronix, Noon, I'm thinking that sort of area we would imagine. Amazing Hour is on a lap time as well, which we'll come on board with very shortly indeed. But Verstappen, round in the final corner, he has got Venoms just in front of him, preparing up for a lap. Let's see what the Alfa Romeo can do. He spins, coming out the final corner, just loses it on the oversteer, sadly, and Verstappen is round. He will not be improving, I don't think, in his qualifying time. Disaster for the Dutchman.
Yeah, disaster for him. Volbeek's coming around the final corner now, just behind as well. So obviously he was just behind Verstappen originally, and he gets himself up into 10th place. Not improving by a lot time-wise, less than half a tenth of a second, but obviously in terms of how close they were, that's enough to bump him up 3 positions at the moment. And yes, disaster there for Verstappen. It looked as though he was going to bump himself further up the grid, but again, he will get the free choice of tyres. Laser has retired from the session, and I think he is the first full victim of turn 12 as Recon has gone fastest. And Mashiro's had a huge shunt at turn 12, basically ending up in the same place as where Laser has.
That's so unfortunate for the Division 2 champion. Amazing Hour comes across the line to go 4th. Let's see, Bullet Boy. There is Mashiro's card just flashing past. Lyronixon's now on a lap as Bullet Boy did improve up to 4th there. 118.7, good lap from him. Now Lyronix coming through. What can the German do on his return here in TTML? Gets very wide, coming out of 13. Now through 14, 15, and then through the final corner at turn 16. Let's see what Lyronix can do. Can he try and settle it amongst his compadre of Medium Pilot? Across the line, he goes 6th. He's just in behind Amazing Hour. Good lap, though, from him. Noon, I don't think, is improving. I'm a D, not improving either. Volbeek, of course, is not improving. I've said that name wrong, I know. Verstappen is on another lap. I don't think he is improving. Carlsbury goes up to 7th with a 118.9. Medium Pilot does not improve. So Medium Pilot doesn't improve. Perpetum out the final corner. Let's see what it can do. I can see the graphics getting along, and there we go. 118.5 from Perpetum. Sets pole position. Recon is not going to be improving, I don't think. So that is Perpetum. 2 points goes to him, and he's on pole position for the first round of the season.
Yeah, fantastic job there for Perpetuum, and I think Venom, in the end, he didn't make it round in time. Well, actually, no, I think he actually just missed the checkered flag after that front wing change, so a disaster for him. He will be starting in 20th, and we didn't really get to see his pace, but yeah, fantastic final lap there from Perpetuum, doing exactly what he needed to do. Fastest in the middle sector, fastest in the first sector. He gets himself on pole position, so close between the top 3 drivers, and you do get a funny feeling that there's some others further down that might have done a bit better. Shapalele and Mashiro, of course, retiring from their final runs. Few drivers as well further down. Verstappen didn't look too bad. He all of a sudden finds himself in 16th. He's less than a tenth of a second off a start in 9th.
That's unbelievable, and he's only 2 thousandths off his teammate. His fellow QVR member Kern in 15th position, he's 2 thousandths off him, but As we get towards the end of qualifying, of course, Perpetum out on top, Recon second, Medium Polar in third. Once again, we thank, of course, IGK TAS for this telemetry system that we are using, and it's a brilliant system. You've used it in One Hub, Luke. How does it differentiate from what One Hub uses to what TTML uses?
Well, the difference is for TTML, you guys can see some of the extra information at home rather than us just speaking to you about it. Because sometimes, let's be honest, we make mistakes and we can get things a bit wrong. But yes, it does give you guys at home a chance to see some of the nice fancy graphics, and obviously Tom can use it to get all the lovely Halo graphics as well, which are still blowing my mind trying to get my head around how they work, if I'm being perfectly honest. But that's qualifying over, and hopefully the next 29 laps will blow all you guys' minds at home as well.
I really hope it does, honestly. Perpetum out on top from Recon in second. Medium Polar in third. Bullet Boy in fourth. Amazing Hour fifth with Lyronics in sixth. Carlsbury and Chapelletti, 1,000th of a second, separating seventh and eighth. Machine World Division 2 champion in ninth with Noon in 10th. Imadi in 11th. Volbeeg in 12th. Dobby 13th. Venoms in 14th. Then Kern in 15th. Verstappen 16th. Matthias 17th. Laser 18th. Zerdimer in 19th. And then down at the back of the field, of course, MCL Venom, who only set a compound of tyre on the mediums. Let's once again, though, have a look at this track in question, of course. This formidable circuit, of course, out on track as we are about to just switch over on our end. But we are now getting, of course, into qualifying, into the race, I should say. 29 laps await these drivers out on track, around a 5.3 kilometre circuit, with the Albert Park circuit, of course, here in Melbourne, Australia. C2, C3, C4 compounds are available for these guys. We saw in qualifying how difficult a track it actually is, and hopefully it is going to be one of those nights where we are going to get some fantastic action, of course, out on track. And we should be going back into that very shortly indeed. Well, you can probably see it on your screen. I am now back in it, though. And Luke, bright blue skies once again. What are we going to expect, certainly, in this race?
I expect a very feisty first couple of laps, I reckon, before the DRS gets activated. That's a bit of a feature that other drivers should be used to now on F1 2020. Cone Masters have made it a bit more realistic with the dirty air, but that just seems to have made DRS trains more prevalent, so the drivers will be wanting to get their way past early on. We've already mentioned it is a bit awkward to overtake around here. Turn 3 and Turn 1. Well, basically, the DRS zones are your best opportunities, and I'd say personally Turn 3, because although there are 3 DRS zones on this track, there are only 2 detection points. So if you have the DRS on the pit straight, you're having it on the next straight, even if you overtake the car in front of you into Turn 1.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating, I think, to see how this is going to go. Perpetum, of course, out on top. Recon second, Medium Polar in third for you guys, the viewers at home. Let's see what compound of tyre everyone is on. Everyone is on a set of mediums further down the field, apart from Imadi starting 11th. Quite interesting, he goes on to a set of hard compound of tyres, which I think is the C4 compound, if I'm not mistaken. The C3 compound, of course, Volbeeg all the way down to Venom. They're all on a set of medium compound of tyres, and, of course, the top 10 qualified on their set of soft compound of tyres. Talk about tyre wear around here. Tyre wear is quite different to most other tracks. We normally see about the soft compound tyres, about 5% per lap they normally go off. In terms of what you've seen in your league racing experience, Luke, how is the tyre wear around here, and what can guys do to try and just make those tyres go a little bit longer into the race?
I always think you can, if you're just a bit careful around here, you can do a one-stop pretty well. The thing you've got to be careful of here is the final section has quite a lot of traction zones, and that does put the rear tyres under pressure, although you've got some of those fast corners as well. So compared to some other tracks, for example Monaco, where it's all traction zones and your rears just get absolutely destroyed, and then on the opposite end of the scale you've got the Zandvoort and Spain, which just destroy your front tyres, but you've got plenty of rear traction. Around here it's fairly balanced in terms of tyre wear, which can be pretty good for the drivers, because it means the balance of the car doesn't change too much as the tyres get older. You've just got to get used to braking a bit earlier, steering a bit more gently, and accelerating a bit more gently. It's just come up on my screen with the predictive pit stop strategies. I'll be very surprised if we see anyone go for a 2-stop strategy. I've already mentioned the lower pit lane speed limit. That will really cost you if you are forced to make a second stop.
This is it. Here we go. Season 3 TTML Division 1 is about to begin in front of your eyes. The final guys are now joining up at the back of the grids, with Emma and Venom just joining onto the back of the grid slots. And now we're about to get racing for 29 laps worth of action. There's Perpetum out on top, Recon in second. Who is going to get the better start? 5 red lights are about to go out here in Australia for round 1 of the championship. And it's a long haul. Predictably, a predicted pit stop strategy comes up on my screen, but there we are. Lights out, away we go. Perpetuum gets a really good start. Medium Pilot is going to be under pressure as well from Mashiro. I think that is going down the inside of Mashiro. Oh, there's a bit of front wing damage further down. I think Recon's actually through and he's into second. A little bit of a graphics glitch on our end, but it's Perpetuum who's away from Medium Pilot from Recon, in second. Medium Pilot in third. That's Lyronix trying to go in for a move on Bullet Boy, I think, further down in towards turn 4 for the first time. Lyronix scores around the outside of Bullet Boy. He's brave and he gets the move done. Brilliant stuff by Lyronix. He's through and I think he's up into 4th position, which is a really good start from him. Amazing Hour has had a really good start as well. Lyronix up to 5th, Amazing Hour up to 4th, but Perpetuum leads from Recon in 2nd, Medium Pilot in 3rd. Predicted pit stop strategies came up again on my screen. Dobby is round, I think, in the background. He's been caught up in a little bit of an incident. There was a bit of front wing flying as well in the early exchanges. But Perpetuum leads, Recon 2nd, Medium Pilot in 3rd, and already the top 2 have got 1.1 seconds over Medium Pilot.
Yes, definitely a great start from the top 2, and I think it's going to be a busy pit stop period for the Haas boys, because that bit of the front wing you saw was Bullet Boy. Dobby has also damaged his front wing, and as Kuhn as well, as we've now seen Carlsberg go past Bullet Boy there, just taking advantage of the lack of downforce. That is really going to affect the Haas driver at this moment in time, so he's going to have to come into the pits, I think, around this circuit. You can't defend with a broken front wing and you'll lose a lot of time. He is into the pits, so I imagine it's now, well, he's got a choice. He can try and go for a 2-stop strategy, or he can just try and stretch for hards towards the end. Obviously, if he puts on a set of the soft or the mediums, he's committing to a 2-stop and then hoping for a later safety car, as he is coming down towards the end of the pit lane now, and it is going to be a set of the hard tyres, so he might try and stretch those towards the end. I'm a D with damage as well, and Dobby deciding that he doesn't want to get double stacked. He's just going to try and carry on for another lap. Perpetuum and Recon, though, getting an absolutely dream start, and it was Medium Pilot just being a bit slow away. If anything, that sort of caused that concertina effect behind.
Really good start from them. Venoms is in 11th position, the Greek driver in the Mercedes. He's trying to challenge Volbeek with just made a mistake coming out of turn 5, and now Verstappen is all over the back of him out on track as we now go on board with him in the Alfa Romeo. It's right on the back. These, of course, on the set of medium compound tyres. Everyone else on a set of soft compound tyres further up the field. Amazing Hour landing onto the back of Medium Pilot, and we've pretty much got the 4 title contenders right at the fore early on here in Australia. It's Perpetuum who leads, Recon in 2nd, Medium Pilot in 3rd. There's Amazing Hour in 4th. Lyronix is in 5th, Carsby 6th, Chapelletti 7th, Noonan 8th, Bashiro 9th, Volbike in 10th position. Just a comment about Dobby's damage, by the way, as well. It says that he's got 51% worth of front wing damage on that left end plate, which is an absolute disaster for the Brit. He's down there in 17th. Recon sets a new fastest lap of the race. So does Amazing Hour, though. He betters it with a 1:23.6 and bettered still by Chapelletti in 7th with a 1:23.4. Perpetuum now leads on to lap 3. DRS now enabled, of course. Won't be enabled until we get towards until corner 12, I should say, out on track. Perpetuum out on top, Recon 2nd, Medium Pilot in 3rd. Everyone else, though, going great guns at this early stage.
Yeah, so the good news for those on the medium tyres, like Volbeek, Venoms and Verstappen, is that they've stayed in DRS range of those on the softer head. In fact, all the way down to Matthias in 14th place, excluding Perpetuum, obviously, are going to have the DRS. So this is going to make it very tricky for us to see any overtakes, barring any mistakes, which could always happen if you're just a bit too eager on the accelerator, a bit too eager on the overtake, or even just a bit too eager opening the DRS when you haven't got full grip towards around about lap 9, lap 10, where we start to see, I reckon, the first few pit stops. That could cost these drivers a bit of time. Perpetuum, he looks in control at the moment. Amazing Hour here. He's got the DRS, but he's not able to get close enough to Medium Pilot. As further back down, I think Verstappen has had a spin. I'm not sure if he's broken his front wing, though. I think he's just about got away with that. I'll check for damage on Taz. He's completely got away with that. So a bit of a lucky boy there to get away. Fortunately for him, he's lost positions.
It's probably just a half spin. Oh, as Amazing Hour gets caught wide, coming out the final corner. Now he's under pressure from Lyronix, and here is Lyronix now on the back of Amazing Hour. But Amazing Hour, I think, used up a bit of overtake mode to try and keep that position. But now the German hunting all over the back of the home crowd man out on track in 4th. Amazing Hour, Lyronix there in 5th. You can see on board with the Racing Point as he comes now down in towards turn 5 for the 4th time. It's Perpetuum who leads, Recon 2nd, Medium Pilot, I should say, in 3rd. Verstappen, of course, I think was 12th when he spun, so he's dropped there down into 16th. Dobby still continuing with that front wing damage. Looking at everyone's tyres, though, up at the front of the race, 30% worn tyres for Perpetuum, out there on the front left tyre. He is more prone. Lyronix, though, 34% in 5th.
Yeah, definitely. He seems to be really using up his tyres, which he can't even really blame the dirty air at the moment, because the drivers around him, amazing our Medium Violet and Recon are doing slightly better than Perpetuum, if anything. And I think when I made my pit stop prediction, I was forgetting that these drivers are going around the circuit quite a lot faster than me, and therefore using up their tyres quite a lot faster than me as well. MCR Venom becomes the first driver to get a penalty, and it's Laser.
Yep, Laser's round coming out of turn 12. Just seen that on the mini-map there. I think he's lost it completely there. So, let's have a look and see if he's got any damage to that car. Again, I think he's another one that's actually came off scot-free with that damage. We continue to run on board with Recon, though. 0.3 of a second running down in towards turn 1. He's now hounding the back of the German. Lyronix and Venom, by the way, picked up 3-second time penalties in all of that. Probably seen it pop up on your screen. With Perpetuum leading the way from Recon in 2nd. Medium Pilot 3rd, Amazing Hour 4th, Lyronix 5th. Colsbury 6th, Schiaparelli in 7th, Perpetuum still under pressure from Recon and from Medium Pilot, but all of these guys stuck in the DRS train. Top 5, I would argue, though, are getting away from Colsbury. He's just a second off now, Colsbury. Schiaparelli, Noon trying to stay in the fight there as well, and pretty much the top 10 are covered by about just over 5 seconds of being out on track.
Yeah, they are. Amadi there picking up a penalty as well. And these DRS trains mean there's a big opportunity for an undercut at some point, and you've got to say, with Lyronix having that tyre wear at the moment a bit higher than everyone else and being at the back of this first 5, I'd say he's in an ideal situation to perhaps go for that undercut at some point in the next 2 or 3 laps. Perhaps he won't be wanting to go too much into this race on this older set of soft tyres, and then just probably getting the hards towards the end of the race. And if it puts him out in the free air, which I'll just have a look at the moment, I think he'd come out. The thing is, you've had Lasers had the spin, and obviously there's been a lot of pit stops as well, so the field is quite spread out further down, so he's not guaranteed to get out in free air if he does make a pit stop, and that might just cost him ever so slightly. We'll have to wait and see, though, how the next few laps, because he's definitely using up his tyres a lot more, and he does look like he's dropping back ever so slightly from those top 4 now.
Oh, Schiaparelli having a go at Colsbury, running down in towards turn 1, literally coming up over that quite late, but now the German right on the back of the Finn, running down in towards turn 3. You can see a bit of lag there, possibly from his end as he tries to commit it down the inside and towards turn 3. Colsbury shuts the door, and he's got Noon in behind as well. Noon still in the fight for 6th position. Colsbury just dropping back into Schiaparelli. Schiaparelli almost dropping back into Noon. This could cause a knock-on effect in behind with Mashiro and Volbeek trying to get onto the back of these guys. And Volbeek actually pulling away quite considerably from Venom's. 1.6 seconds on that fresh set of mediums compared to Venom's and Venom in behind. That's a mouthful to say now with them both being together out on track. But Volbeek in 10th, he is catching these guys on a set of softs.
Yes, if anything, it's Venom set his fastest lap of the race on the last lap, but it was still 3 slower than what Volbeek and MCR Venom were doing, so he's a bit of a cork in the bottle in this midfield battle. Schiaparelli around, and he was very close to the wall there, and
no damage.
Again, I don't think he's got any. Well, he's definitely not got any major damage. He's got no damage whatsoever. I just wonder, though, how hot those softs are getting on his car, and whether he now might think, I could do with pitting in the next few laps. So that puts Colsbury under a lot less pressure, of course. Although he's still dropping back from Lyronix, and Noon will now have a bit of a chance to get closer to him. Probably not close enough for an overtake, though. Maybe next time around.
Look, a medium pilot as well, right on the back of Recon. Volbeek's not too far off the back of Mashiro, in fact. He could lunge it down the inside line. Let's run on board with McLaren. He's not close enough this time around on the Division 2 champion. But Mashiro went 8th, doing his all and holding his own, I've got to say, from Division 2 last season. Now in Division 1, and now he's trying to prove why he could be the next big force within TTML. It is Volbeek, though, right on the back of Mashiro. And he just picked up a penalty out on track as we ride on board with him, just getting caught wide coming out of turn 7 there. Now through turn 8 and then through turns 9 and 10 upcoming. Mashiro still on the back, almost getting held up by Colsbury. Schiaparelli has just lost position to Matthias further down the field. And another half spin possibly from Schiaparelli there.
I mean, it's very possible that obviously he's been stuck in a bit of traffic and heated those tyres up, but I think the Volbeek penalty, if you ever want to demonstrate to anyone what dirty air looks like, he just understeered when he was so close to the car in front. Verstappen picking up a penalty now. They're all starting to push that slight bit harder at the moment, and obviously the mediums aren't wearing too much. For soft tyres, pretty much everyone who's on them has at least one tyre above 50% at the moment in time. They really are struggling ever so slightly, and we will see some pit stops soon. And there we go, Recon into the pit at the end of lap 7 then for him. And
here comes Noon.
He's going for another set of hards.
Noon down the inside on Carlsbury's already cut in there. Chapelelli has came into the pit lane and retired, I think, out on track. And now Carlsbury to the right-hand side. Is the Ferrari going to try and find its way through? I'll try and work the cameras here. Carlsbury down the inside line. Use him as a bit of a braking marker in towards turn 3. Now through turn 4. Noon is still there on the inside line. The Finn is not giving this up without a fight. I think he's just ahead as he comes through turn 5. He is, but Noon's fighting back. And Noon is trying to come now down the inside line in towards turn 6. Great move by Noon. Can he force him off? He does. Carlsbury now has lost position to Machiro, possibly to Volbeek as well. Volbeek just hanging on tight, lets Carlsbury through, but now Machiro trying to go around the outside of Noon in towards turn 10, and there's a little bit of contact when Noon recovers the car, and Machiro is through, Carlsbury through, Volbeek through. In the end, a really promising battle, and a great battle between Machiro and Noon. Just got a little bit closer for comfort, and it resulted in Noon losing 3 positions.
Yes, it did. It all started obviously with the DRS, Noon getting ahead of Carlsbury, not giving up. Now Volbeek's having to go at Carlsbury. You'll imagine he'll have much better grip on that McLaren at this point in the race, and he just takes 6th place, gets a bit of oversteer on the exit of the corner and recovers. And Machiro sometimes doing what you inside you're always hoping a bit when you see a battle in front of you, like, please just make a tiny bit of contact and I can take advantage. And that is pretty much exactly what happened. We are seeing some more drivers come into the pit. Interestingly, Livonics, who seems to be the one struggling the most with the tyre wear, is staying out.
He is going to run into puncture territory, possibly out on track. You see that to the pit window. That was Venom's getting the move done on Noon. So Venom's now getting another position on Noon, and Noon dropping down another position. And now he's under pressure from the other Venom out on track. And they've both got quite a bit of stick fight out on track. And we'll have a look at the tyre wear for Venom. Yellow flag in sector 1. I think Recon has spun, or is it Machiro? One of the two has spun. Coming out of turn 1, and Recon has spun. Coming out of turn 1, which is so unfortunate. Venom, in terms of the tyre wear currently, 32% tyre wear on the front left and on the rear right, 27% otherwise on the front right, and on the rear left it is 36%. So Venom, in terms of the tyre wear, not going too bad at all. We'll have a look at that now. Hopefully that has just came up on your screen. Noon, Venom's, Carlsbury chasing in behind. Carlsbury 3rd, Venom's 4th, Noon in 5th, but Venom still right on the back. And as I was saying, they've got a bit of snake bite because they could go 2 for 1. Venom's trying to go around the outside of Carlsbury. Venom down the inside of Noon. Oh, they've got a bit of snake bite, all right, and he's through, and he's up into 5th. Venom's just through, and he's up into 3rd. They're not ending up in the snake pit tonight.
I'm just trying to count the snake puns that you made in that couple of seconds there, James. I actually caught the Recon incident, and he actually made contact with Perfection as the Ferrari was coming out of the pit lane. He tried to go down the outside, and I think Perfection, of course, we only get to see things once, unfortunately. On cold tyres, I think he might have just understeered ever so slightly and caught Recon, who then went spinning around, but he's now got front wing damage, and I think he's going to have to come into the pits. Most of the soft runners have now come in, apart from XL Noon. It's just now all about how long can Volbeek, Venom's Venom, Matthias Verstappen, Zydemer, how long can they stay out on these medium tyres, and will it get to a point where they're starting to hold up those on the hards?
I would imagine they'd go to about the halfway stage, if I've got to be honest, out on track. Matthias is on the back of Noon, so the two Red Bulls are about to fight, like Verstappen and Albon last season, of course. But Australia wasn't on the calendar, of course, last season. We ride on board then with the Austrian, I should say, right on the back of the Brit. I would imagine that the Brit is going to come in very soon indeed. I hope we haven't lost many viewers, by the way, with those snakebite puns, if I've got to be honest. Expect more to come over the next 11 rounds of the season. Volbeek leading from Venom's in 2nd, Venom in 3rd, with Noon in 4th and Matthias in 5th. And we're going to get ourselves in a right tongue twister, because Venom now, down the inside of Venom's, is going to try and get the move done. Noon is hanging on tightly from Matthias. They fly side by side through 14. Venom's around the outside of Venom, gets the move done, but Venom comes back, and this is an absolute tongue twister and a half, but it's a great battle, and Venom's just through, and he's into 2nd. Noon is into the pit lane as well, and that was commitment and a half from the Greek. Now the Brit is going to come back at Venom's, running down in towards turn 1. The snake bite is back for Venom, and he's through, and he's into 2nd position. Really good. Oh, and he loses the car on the curb. Just about with controls up, but has lost the position to Matthias, and now Matthias could get Venom's running down the straight. He's not going to. Volbeek at him from Venom's in 2nd, but Venom having a bit of oversteer coming out of turn 1 and 2, lost the car and has lost the position to Matthias.
Yes, I think he was so focused on the position, I think he forgot where his braking point was and went about 20 or 30 metres too late, completely locked up the brakes, and then did very well to hold the car, because obviously he got on the grass, got a bit of oversteer, and thankfully for him he did hold it. I think thankfully for Matthias as well, but all this battling has just allowed Volbeek, who wasn't too far ahead of these at one point, he's now got a bit of a 3.6 second lead over them as Venoms picks up a penalty all of a sudden. He's doing a very good performance at the moment in that McLaren as our race leader. I wouldn't count him out of getting a very good result in this race. Bullet Boy is back into the pits for his second pit stop. That damage on lap 1 has really cost him. Another interesting strategy, XL Noon went onto the medium tyres. Now, judging by the tyre wear of anyone else and the history of this circuit, he's not getting them to the end unless he's extremely careful.
Now, if anybody is extremely careful with those tyres, it is Noon, because he is the king, honestly, of tyre management out on track. I'm just trying to find him as we'll go on board. There he is in 13th position. 4.2 seconds behind Mashiro currently. Beautiful helicopter cam, by the way. Lap 12 out of 29. Volbeek leading Venoms in second. Matthias in third. Matthias is on the back of Venoms. I don't think he's going to get the move done down in towards turn 3, which is why we'll ride on board then with Medium Pilot, who is now on the back of Perpetuum out on track. And I've got a little bit of difficulty trying to change the cameras there. There we are. Medium Pilot right on the back of Perpetuum. The battle that we were robbed of so many times last season between Perpetuum and Medium Pilot. Now, with the two champions, the Division 1 Season 1 champion, of course, Medium Pilot, and Perpetuum Season 2 TTML champion about to do battle. Then they've got the newcomer in Amazing Hour, who really came into his own halfway through the season, joined halfway through the season, and really came into his own. And he is now going to try and pressurise the front two and the current champions in TTML.
Yes, and he's in that situation. The third man in the DRS train, he's probably best just sitting back ever so slightly, because unless Medium Pilot makes a mistake, it's going to be very difficult for him to enact an overtake at this moment in time. Just be careful, just concentrate on your own race, and just concentrate on not picking up any penalties. And this is what these, net first, second and third have managed to do fairly well at the moment, and I'm sure that is going to put the commentator's curse on them. They're looking at the situation. Amazing Hour currently has 2 warnings. Perpetuum and Medium Pilot only have 1, so they've done very careful at the moment, and they can get away with 1. I always feel in a race, if you've not used 2 warnings, you've sort of wasted them at some point, and you should have had a chance to maybe just push for track limits that extra bit more, but maybe that's just me being a bit cynical.
It might be. You never know. It might be. Mashiro's closing down on this Laser, running down in towards someone. Recon is through on Dobby. I think Recon came into the pit stop. He's had a really terrible race out on track. Here comes Mashiro, the other Division 2 champion, now on the back of Laser. Is he going to take it to his fellow TTG member? No, is the answer through turn 11 and 12. You would imagine Mashiro on a 4-lap set of old hards. He's on fresher tyres compared to Laser ahead of him. Surely he's going to get the move done sooner rather than later.
Yes, you would expect Laser to be really struggling at the moment. I imagine turn 13 is where we're going to see Mashiro going to get the run. He's just got to be careful that he's not too close. In fact, he might get it done a bit earlier. He doesn't want to be too close coming through 11 and 12 because he'll lose so much time in the dirty air. It's a bit like at the Kemmel Straight at Belgium's another one. You don't want to be too close going through Eau Rouge and Vadion, because then you have to lift off and you just lose a lot of momentum. Mashiro's just in the right place here. If he can get a good enough exit, although Laser's still not looking too bad at the moment. Mashiro's using his overtake. Is he going to go for the move down into turn 13? He just can't quite get in it. He is losing a lot of time. On this lap alone, I think Laser's lost about a second to the car in front. So that is bad news for Mashiro, who would have just about been within penalty range of Live Onyx.
I'm loving the comments, by the way, in the comments section. We're seeing Freak Gronk to Division 1. There's a long way for you to go, honestly, if Freak Gronk wants to get to Division 1 out on track. It's not even the first race of the season, honestly. Mashiro on the back of Laser, 11th and 12th. Here comes Medium Pilot, though, on the back of Perpetuum, running down in towards turn 3, not quite close enough. They're just running in tandem currently out on track. Somebody that is trying to pressurise, though, further up the field is this man here, Matthias, out on track. He's currently in third in the Red Bull, 4/10 off the back of Venoms, both on the same compound of tyre, both on the same strategy. How on earth is Matthias going to try and find his way through on Venoms? Does he just sit and wait until the pit stops and then be on a quicker tyre towards the end?
I'd say that's probably the best thing. And if these drivers are going to come into the pits, I was expecting it to maybe be very shortly. They're starting to wear out their tyres that bit more. They probably can't stretch them long enough to go onto a set of softs, judging by the tyre where we've seen at the moment. It is 30 degrees track temperature, so a bit warmer than qualifying, and that obviously will have an effect, especially as Matthias has been stuck in dirty air a bit more. And there we go, we are seeing a few pit stops. Venom then, the first real runner on the scheduled medium stop who hasn't had damage to come into the pits, and that'll be hard tyres towards the end of the race for him.
Yep, hard tyres go on for Venoms. Now he's coming out the pit lane, of course. He will, I feel, filter in behind maybe Carlsbury. In fact, he's going to be well ahead of Carlsbury. What am I thinking? He's going to be behind, I think, Noon coming out the pit lane, if I'm not mistaken. He'll just filter in into this gap coming out the pit lane. You can see the track map to the right-hand side. Oh, and there's a bit of damage, actually. Mishivo has front-wing damage flying off the car. Try to go for a move, I think, on Laser. Laser just came across track, and it's given Mishivo damage. Left side end plate damage. Not really sure what occurred on the run-up to that. But Mishivo, left side end plate damage, the Division 2 champion is not going to be happy with that. Not sure if Laser came across on him. I'm really not sure what happened there.
Yeah, I just caught it on my end. I'm not sure whether there was a slight movement from Laser and Mishivo was just trying to go a bit too close maybe to Laser, and there was a slight bit of contact. We'll see if there is anything in the stewards, but XL Noon's now got a fantastic run on Laser, 10 lap fresher medium tyres, and that's really what XL Noon needs to do, because I'm just checking what his tyre wear is like at the moment. He is currently... well, I reckon he's got a slight chance of making it towards the end of the race. He could be in danger, though, of a penalty in the final few laps. We'll have to wait and see.
But he's through, and he's up into 10th position, of course, on Laser. Mishivo, with that damage, is now going to drop off on the back of Laser. Now we see Matthias come into the pit lane, as he will go on, I would imagine, to a set of hard compound of tyres, of course, out on track. 13 laps on these tyres can and will work. And he's in. Mishivo picking up a 3-second time penalty for cutting the corner, I think. They're coming through turn 13 on the exit of turn 13, I think that was, where he might have picked that up. He's still continuing on. No, in fact, he's coming into the pit lane, and Matthias is coming right in the gaggle of cars. I think he's going to join just in behind Venoms. And Venom, of course, came into the pit lane. Not a bad overcut, really, from Venoms. He's actually gained time on Matthias, which is not too bad at all.
Yeah, that's worked out fairly well. Now, these have gone a bit longer on the mediums. They're either going to have to be very careful on these tyres now and stretch them towards the softs, and I think if they're doing that, they're going to lose a lot of pace in the next couple of laps and then gain it all back later on. Or they're going to go for the hard tyres, but I don't see why you'd do a longer run on the medium tyres, which is now going to be a minimum of 16 laps, and then only 13 laps on the hards, which, as clues in the name, they're the harder of the tyres. You're going to have less pace, but you're going to have a lot more tyre life out of them. So I am interested to see how it's going to go for Volweg, Venom, Verstappen and Zuidema now, and Laser as well, although he's a bit further down the field. It's just been a bit of a bad day for the Alpha Tauri drivers. There was, Bullet Boy I've just gone on board with. I think he's damaged his car as well.
He has damaged his car. I was just riding on board with medium part. I thought he was going to get a move done down in towards turn 13. He doesn't. Bullet Boy has got damage to the car, and unfortunately for him, a really good qualifying position has ended him up now down right at the plumb last position. But if he continues, he picks up a point. It's as simple as that. He could go for the fastest lap point as well. Here comes medium part though on the back of Vettel, but not close enough. The Brit, in terms of the German, just in front of him, out on track, 0.2 of a second as we run now down in towards turn 3 once again. Venom's, in the meantime, is getting the move done on Laser, cuts across and gets the position done, and he's now through and he's up into P10 on 14 lap fresher tyres, and Venom's absolutely blasts away from Laser. Laser, not pinpoint accurate, I think, in terms of the move across of Mishivo, but Venom's through and he's up into 10th nonetheless. So he's still got a bit of snake bite in him. I'm not going to stop with these snake puns, honestly.
I wouldn't expect anything less, if I'm being perfectly honest. This is now going to get interesting for those that were on the hard tyres, though, because they're starting to catch up to Zuidema, and it could all have an effect on, well, Verstappen as well, actually. He's just ahead of the Mercedes. This could all have an effect on where they catch them up. If Perpetuum, let's say, gets a chance to overtake them headed into turn 3, that's all well and good. Or into turn 12 even, where they're heading now. But then Medium Pilot have to spend a few corners behind. So this could be an opportunity for these front 3 drivers, maybe to enact an overtake, or maybe we'll see them get spread out ever so slightly, though I'm sure they wouldn't mind too much if they both dived into the pits, and that is exactly what has happened.
Yep, Venom into the pit lane, Verstappen in, Zuidema in, Volbike still staying out though, Medium Pilot still hunting down Perpetuum as we get towards turn 1. It's as close as he's ever been. We'll try and undercut it through turn 1, get a tremendous run out of turn 2. Perpetuum has a slight moment now, Perpetuum now on the inside line. A medium pilot switches to the outside line. There's a little bit of contact between them both, between the two former champs. And he goes around the outside. Medium pilot, the Season 1 champ against the Season 2 champ. Gets the move done. A little bit of a twitch there from Perpetuum. Gets the move done for medium pilot. And he is through. He's into the net lead of the race. But more importantly, he's through now. And he's into second position out on track. Verstappen is under pressure from Carlsbury further down the field. I think Verstappen has just got that move done, in fact. On the Ferrari, he's up into 12th, coming fresh out the pit lane. But Volbeek leads, medium pilot now in the net lead of the race. And more importantly, none of the top 3 have got, or none of the top 4, I should say, apart from Volbeek, have got penalties. Game on in Australia with 12 laps to go.
Yes, great racing there from medium pilot and Perpetuum. They've read up on their rules. They know that you only have to leave the car next to you 1 car width. And no more. It was fantastic racing from them. A little bit of a bump, but no damage done in the end. Great to see how it's going to work out for them. I'm now interested to see how these drivers are going to do on the soft tyres. You've got Venom, Verstappen and Zoidema. They're going to be flying their way through the field. In fact, Zoidema's got ahead of Carlsbury even before we've even got into turn 11 and 12. So that just shows you how much more traction he's got. And likewise, with 2 Renaults swapping round, it wouldn't surprise me if that was orchestrated. But our race leader into the pits, Volbeek, coming out onto the soft tyres. He'll be hoping to be just ahead of Venom. Could still get some good points here in that McLaren.
Yeah, Laser coming into the pit lane just in front of Venom out on track. Venom was eyeing up a move on Laser, but Venom now committed. And Volbeek is going to be ahead, miles ahead. In fact, he's even ahead of Matthias out on track. So Volbeek now possibly on for, I would say, a top 5 finish out on track. The Dutchman really excelling, of course, in his first race of this season. It is, though, medium pilot who now leads. Perpetuum second and Mason Hour in third. 10.5 laps to go. If you are being picky, in the words of one Kieran McGinley, and medium pilot lead from Perpetuum second. Mason Hour in third. Really surprised, by the way, that Ironics has not got onto the back of these guys, because these guys are fighting in front. Perpetuum and Mason Hour, especially now. Ironics is just in a bit of no man's land, to be honest. It's not as if he can close the gap. He's now 3 seconds off the back of Mason Hour, who's on the back of Perpetuum trying to get the move done.
Yeah, it's really interesting because he pitted slightly later, so you'd expect him to have a bit more pace on these hard tyres. That's why he's dropped a bit further back, and it just hasn't happened at the moment. Medium pilot seems to be putting on a bit of a spurt, though. Unsurprisingly, I think, trying to break that 1 second window as Bullet Boy gets himself the fastest lap of the race, and will, of course, if he gets towards the end, which hopefully he will do, we'll get that extra point for that. And medium pilot had nearly broken the DRS then. I think that was a tactic. He knows that if he manages to sustain DRS range, Perpetuum could maybe just save a bit of fuel, save a bit of ERS and go for it at the end of this race. And medium pilot is trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. Imadi in for his second pit stop after pitting early on. That will be a set of softs for him in the Renault. Kuren as well doing the likewise. There's still a lot of action to come in this race, and I can't imagine Amazing Hour's just going to hang around in third place for a while. He's been watching all this battling happening. If he gets a chance, as Perpetuum picks up his first time penalty, that's going to make things very interesting. So maybe now Amazing Hour won't be as bothered about having an overtake on Perpetuum, or if he wants to win this race, it looks like he's got to.
Oh, great fight back from Venom. Gets the move done down in towards turn 6 as well. And the Renault's back through on Matthias. Matthias had taken the move down in towards turn 3. Venom ran wide. Matthias now is down into 9th position. Venom back through and he's up into 8th. And yeah, you've just picked up on the fact that Perpetuum has just picked up a 3-second time penalty out on track. It's going to do Tom no wonders at all, I think, if he's got a top 3 graphic right at the end of this race, as Matthias now picks up a 3-second time penalty. In fact, Matthias, 9th position, ahead of Verstappen and Zwiadera. Yes, they're going to be coming onto the back of him now, but Matthias has been, I think, the best out of the hard runners in the mid-pack. He's been absolutely excelling out on track, as Volbeek now lands himself right onto the back of a 3-car battle for 5th, with Venom's first up, as Venom's gets very wide coming out the final corner. Now the McLaren will try and hunt him down towards turn 1, but Venom's currently holding sway for 6th, Noon in 5th. Let Up Noon is going to try and excel out on track. I'm really going to stop with these puns in a minute. Venom's and Volbeek now side by side, and Volbeek is through. Venom's had a poor exit, I think, coming out of turn 2, and Volbeek now through, and he's up into 6th.
Yes, I was about to say Volbeek might be worth doing something similar to what MCR Venom did and try it into turn 5 and 6 where there is no DRS. He's just got such good traction out of turn 2 that he didn't need to do that. A fantastic move from him. You can't imagine XL Noon's going to put up a fight. And I know we mentioned, a top 5 might be on for Volbeek. He has 3 seconds less penalties than Lyronics. It's a 6.5 second gap at the moment from Noon to Lyronics. But Volbeek is going to be on much, much faster tyres. He could get himself a top 4 here.
He could get himself a top 4, in fact, and Perpetuum, I think, has just gone around the outside of Medium Polar. I'm sorry that I missed that, because Laser was getting the move done on Dobby for 13th position out on track, but that is now Perpetuum into the lead of the race. But I think Medium Polar might have just done that to really spice up the action here. Volbeat knows he's going to be catching as well on the back of Noon. Armadillo is now through on Dobby, dropping down the field, of course, with that early damage that he got on that one. Amazing Hour trying to be amazing out on track. Can he get the move done on the defending, or on the Season 1 champ of TTML? He's got a superior run. He's got more ERS than Medium Polar, and Medium Polar is just going to let this one go by, I think. Amazing Hour through, and he's into 2nd position out on track. Volbeat behind on Noon as well. This is for 5th and 6th. Let's see what Volbeat can do. Can he go all the way around the outside? Can he dummy it to the inside? He does dummy it to the inside, but he doesn't have the move done. Noon falls in for a bit of an error there, and in fact, Volbeat is just hammering all the way. Volbeat almost looks like he's just hanging back from Noon. Not sure what it is, whether he's trying to get these ties to the end or not. He's just hounding the back of Noon. If I was in his position, I'd be wanting to get the move done sooner rather than later, because it will cost time.
I'd be thinking of sending it somewhere, and I'm thinking Medium Pilot has hit the wall coming out of turn 12. He's got that damage on that left side. He's missing his end plate, and he's really struggling for grip at the moment. This is a disaster for Medium Pilot, and perhaps that's why we missed the Perpetuum battle, because it wasn't really looking like Perpetuum was close enough to overtake Medium Pilot, as Carlsberg now picks up a penalty. Yes, very interesting indeed. You can see how much Medium Pilot is struggling, and Volbeat's finally got the move done into turn 13 on the brakes, using that extra grip of the tyres. Exactly what he needed to do. Unfortunately, he did pick up a penalty the lap before, so he's really going to have to push to get himself ahead of Live Onyx. Medium Pilot has now got a penalty. He's just going to start dropping a long way back as Recon has had a spin.
Yeah, Recon's had a spin coming out of turn 7, I think that is, just before turn 8. So that's where he's gone. Now, Medium Pilot dropping back to Lyronic, so that's going to be quite interesting. Verstappen is through on Matthias, Machine through on Dobby as well, but it's Perpetuum who leads the way out on track. Laser the latest to pick up a 3-second time penalty as well for Perpetuum, leading the way. We missed the battle, of course. Not much of a battle, because it seemed that Medium Pilot just let these two go. Perpetuum now in pole position to take this, but Amazing Hour with that penalty, it could come back to haunt him quite much here out on track, of course. In terms of the championship standings, of course, Perpetuum would actually be leading the championship at this stage on 32 points. Amazing now on 25 points, and then Medium Pilot in third on 20 points. That's a bit of a lifetime. And Recon has spun coming out of turn 14 once again. So there was yellow flags in that area. Here is Venom, and Venom's once again. We're going to get a second round between these two, and Venom now going to cause an absolute pain for us in the commentary box, but he sends it down the inside, Venom, and just about comes out there with a bit of unscathed-ness, to be honest, out on track. Venom tried to go for the move on Venom's, didn't quite commit it. To be honest, Venom's in a hurry, but I've got to be honest, hold back, try and get the move done, and be patient. That's what he has to do.
I mean, I can see why he did it. He thought he'd have a lot of grip at the moment, and because he's in that DRS train, it's not going to be as easy doing it into a more conventional point. As Amazing Hours tried to go round the outside at turn 3 here on Perpetuum. He doesn't need to do it. He's just showing off for all you lovely people watching at home, at work. Well, if you're watching at work, naughty, but we'll let you off. He's just trying to show off. He doesn't need to go for this at the moment, and that just shows true racing instinct to not hold back and to try and go for this move at this moment in time. Just checking the penalty situation, he has had 2 warnings, in fact, so he needs to be a bit careful that Perpetuum doesn't just edge him to the edge of the track ever so slightly, because he could easily pick up another penalty all of a sudden. Further back, Imadi has managed to get past TTG's Laser just for 13th from 14th, but of course here in TTML, if you finish, you get yourself a point.
That's as simple as that, and with Recon now out of the race, which we missed, so Recon now out of the race for Tide coming into the pit lane, I think, means Bullet Boy is now picking up a minimum of 2 points out on track. Alternative point scoring system, of course, will remind you of as we get to the end. Venom's now on the back of Noon, going to try and get the move done down in towards 13, but he's not going to hang. He's going to hang tough, and he's going to wait until this move comes for Noon. 6th, 7th and 8th currently. Verstappen in a bit of clear air, beginning to catch as well. These guys really begin to battle. Verstappen could be within a good shout of getting this, as now we'll ride back on board with the leaders out on track. Amazing Hour and Perpetuum, 0.2 of a second, whittling away. Here comes Amazing Hour once again to try and go around the outside. Is he more committed this time to try and go around the outside? No, he's not. Or is he? He's going to hang it there on the inside through 4, but Perpetuum hangs on just about. Perpetuum is defending for his life. This is why he is the champion of last season. This is why he's now under pressure from Amazing Hour, and Amazing Hour is looking at his home circuit to try and win this one.
Yes, he is.
Venom
just a bit
out.
further back. However, Venom has spun. Venom's went for a move on Noon. Just went a bit deep. Venom thought he had an opportunity to get in there. Unfortunately, the gap just closed. So he's now dropped down to 11th. Has got away unscathed. And yes, Perpetuum, even though he hasn't got a penalty, you always want to win out on track and say, yeah, if I hadn't got those penalties, I would have took the victory. And don't you forget it. And Verstappen, we said he was catching up. He's now managed to get ahead of Venom, so I think he's had a spin. Zygamer's getting involved in this, and Matthias is right there all of a sudden. This mixture of strategies in the midfield is starting to become really, really tasty in the final few laps.
It really is getting tasty, and it's getting tasty, of course, for our viewers. 4.5 laps left, will be 4 to go when Perpetuum comes across the line. Amazing Hour still in the back. Medium Pilot sticking well, I think. 2.2 seconds off the back of Amazing Hour. He's got 1.4 of Ironics. But we're back on board with the battle of Zedema, right on the back of Matthias, who then in turn is on the back of Verstappen, who then in turn is going to be on the back of Noon very soon indeed. It is Perpetuum though leading out in front. Amazing Hour not this close enough, as Venoms has retired coming into the pit lane. I wonder if there was a bit of damage on that car and he's retired coming into the pit lane, or there was a little bit of contact and he's just given up.
I mean, he did go for a very deep move, to be perfectly honest, on XL Known, and I wonder if it all just got a bit tight between them. He did drop further places, but you're going to get points. Why leave?
Yeah, it's going to be something I think that the stewards might have a look into with the Schiaparelli, Recon and Venoms now being out of the race, retiring. There's points available, man. Even if you pick up 1 point, it could be the difference between you winning the championship and you not winning the championship. It's as simple as that. Always play for points, like out on track, as I just get rid of my graphics there slightly. Amazing Hour though, right on the back of Perpetuum, now through 13. Here comes the Australian. Is he going to try and move down into 14? No way. He is still really fighting on the back of Amazing of a Perpetuum here, and it's bringing Medium Pilot back into contention. 1.8 seconds. Lyronix is not entirely out of this either. If Amazing Hour and Perpetuum really begin to battle hard, I would imagine Medium Pilot and Lyronix would be on the back of these two within the final lap, surely.
Yes, definitely. I'm just checking the lap times that the driver set last time around. It was 124.5 for our two leaders. Medium Pilot with the broken front wing was a 124.2.
Here he comes.
Lyronix was a 123.7 as Amazing Hour there. This time trials the inside of Perpetuum, and it didn't quite work. So I think he's got to try somewhere else in turn 3. He's tried it both ways around there and it hasn't worked out. And once you do it a couple of times, the drive in front is usually wise for it. So the final couple of corners, he got a good exit out of 13 last time around. Maybe that'll be the opportunity for him to get that overtake done.
But in terms of the ERS deployment out on track, Perpetuum's got about 40% more than Amazing Hour behind him. So Amazing Hour, who we're on board with currently, is still in second position out on track. He has got 20% worth of ERS. Perpetuum has got 52%, so it's about a 32% more inferior rate for Perpetuum in terms of the ERS. And if you're wondering what the ERS is and you're new to Formula 1, it's the energy recovery system. Essentially, think of it this way. When they break into the corner, they save up energy. When they go out of the corner, they deploy energy, and they deploy the speed of the car. It's as simple as that. That's bread and butter of what we do here in TTML.
It is. I mean, it's just imagine a boost button. That's basically what it is. It's a nice little boost button that you can press to go into the overtake and just get an extra bit of horsepower to boost yourself a lot. I mean, the ERS provides about 150 brake horsepower. If I had 150 brake horsepower in my Ford Focus, it would be a pretty nippy car. And this is just on top of the 600-700 horsepower that they're getting from, let's not forget, a 1.6 litre engine, as Lyronix has got past Medium Pilot there. I think Medium Pilot just letting Lyronix go ever so slightly. Matthias and Verstappen are now battling side by side for 7th and 8th. Those soft tyres will be starting to get a bit worn now on Verstappen's car, so Matthias might be able to hold this off all the way around the outside. There's some contact ever so slightly between the two of them. Great defending there from Verstappen. And all this is helping New now, because we said he had to stretch those medium tyres a bit longer than some of the others around him. He's currently on 70% on his front left. Verstappen is at a similar rate at the moment, so Noon's got a very good chance, and he's kept it clean penalty-wise. It's just a shame he's probably a bit too far back to benefit.
I mean, look at Matthias's tyres, though. 38% is on the front left tyre, and he's still within a chance of possibly getting Verstappen, possibly getting Noon as well. Verstappen's only 8 tenths off, so if he can drag Verstappen, or Verstappen can drag Matthias along, Matthias is going to be right there towards the end for possible P6 out on track. Zerdemer, though, in 9th position, 3 tenths away. He has got no penalties out on track. Final lap already. How is it the final lap already? It's Papetum who leads the way by 5 tenths of a second from Amazing Hour in second. Honestly, I could continue for 100% race. I think I'm that good tonight. Papetum leading from Amazing Hour in second. Lyronix in third. Medium Pilot 4 will be trying to get closer, but those tyres are going to be ebbing away in that set of softs on that McLaren. Papetum has a slight moment coming out of 4, then out of 5 again, and this is Amazing Hour's opportunity to try and get him with half a lap to go.
Yeah, he's just got to try and get a good exit at the moment. They're both on very similar ERS. Papetum is running a bit low on fuel, so Amazing Hour needs to just be in rich mode at the moment, doing everything he can, using that extra bit of fuel just to try and get a bit of an advantage. Papetum again looking a bit sideways at the moment. Is Amazing Hour going to be close enough through 11 and 12, or is he going to be slightly too close? I think he's dropped back ever so slightly in the dirty air. He's just going to be too far back, I think, to have a go here into turn 13.
He has to go for it, Amazing Hour, if he wants the win. He will get the win, of course, because Papetum's got a penalty. Now Amazing Hour really wants this as the Williams now fights with the Ferrari. Through the final couple of corners we go, through 14, through 15, and then through 16. Papetum is just about hanging on for grim life out in front. Through the final corner he comes. Papetum is going to win. Amazing Hour, though, is going to win without the penalties. Papetum across the line wins, but Amazing Hour wins the first round of the season here in Australia. Lyronix across the line. Medium Pilot in the end gets third. Volbeek in the end getting fifth. Noon has got a right train in behind him with Verstappen and Matthias. And Matthias has got a tremendous run out the final corner. Could be a photo finish coming across the line. It's not. Noon is in sixth. Zoderman now for seventh. Verstappen eighth. Matthias ninth. Venom across the line in 10th. There's Carlsbury coming across the line in 11th position. Then I'm a D in 12th. There's a yellow flag in sector 3, which I don't know who that's for. I'm a D coming across the line in 12th. Then it's Laser coming across the line in 13th. He'll be hoping to be more razor sharp next week. Mashivo jumps up into 13th. Kern up into 13th. Dobby now up into 13th. Very lucky for Dobby, I think, in terms of the position. And Bullet Boy we wait on, still continuing on. He will pick up 3 points out on track. And he's going to be around the final corner to complete in 17th position. But, Luke, we have reached the end here of Division 1 tonight. It is Amazing Hour who takes it, Papetum second and Medium Pilot in third. What a race that was to open up the season.
Yes, an absolutely fantastic race. We had a great two-way battle for the win towards the end. You've just got to think, if Medium Pilot hadn't have had that damage, would it have been a three-way battle, or would he have just driven away ever so slightly, because he seems to have a lot of pace. The in-game driver of the day going to XL Zeideman. Not a bad job for a reserve, definitely, but the top 3 definitely lay a marker down in these early stages for the championship, and it is Amazing Hour who for quite a lot of that race looked as though he was happy to just sit back. In the end, he kept it nice and clean. He's earned the victory in Australia.
Yeah, Amazing Hour out on top from Papetum, of course, in second, and Medium Pilot in third. You can work out the maths yourself, but just in terms of the live standings, Amazing Hour will lead going into next week on 30 points. Papetum in second on 27, and Medium Pilot in third on 20. Remember, Papetum picked up those 2 points for pole position. Not sure entirely who got the fastest lap point and whether it will count if there's a DNF, but Amazing Hour wins from Papetum in second, Medium Pilot in third, Lyronix in fourth, Volbeek in fifth with Noon in sixth, Zerdemer in seventh, Verstappen in eighth, Matthias in ninth, and Venom rounding off the top 10. Carlsbury in 11th, Imadi in 12th, Dobby in 13th, very lucky for him, because he started there as well. Mashiro Division 2 champion in 14th, Kern in 15th, Laser in 16th, Bullet Boy in 17th. He is the man that's picked up the fastest lap points, so he gets 4 points instead of 3 because of his finishing position and of the fastest lap point. Venoms, Recon and Schiaparelli becoming more like Bottlelli, I'm afraid to say, down there in 20th position. But Venoms, Recon and Schiaparelli not finishing out on track. And it is Amazing Hour's first victory of the season. What a way to do it. I think let's try and get the top 3 in.
Yeah, and of course he did say it's a victory at his own race as well. Let's not
It is
forget.
indeed.
Amazing hour winning at his own race. The AI seems to get a bit of an advantage on this game at their own circuits. I don't think that quite works out, obviously, for the real human drivers, but he'll be very happy with his performance tonight. Kept it nice. Quite often, that is more important than being the outright fastest.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's a fantastic result from Amazing Hour. He always speaks so eloquently, I think, in his interviews as well. So it's going to be fascinating to see how that is going to go. I'm sure Luke is going to be badgering away trying to get the top 3 in. But let me just remind you who we are really sponsored by this season in terms of telemetry system. You might hear us going on about it quite a lot. It is the IGK task system, of course, that we use. One hub to use it in another iteration, but an absolute fantastic system to use. And I think for first run out, that was pretty successful, if I've got to be honest.
Yeah, it went pretty well. Obviously, Tom in the background. I know we're getting a lot of comments from about the graphics. I wish we could claim any credit as to what is happening with them. Tom doing a lot of amazing work in the background. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get the top 3 drivers coming in. It was an absolutely fantastic race, although unfortunately Amazing Hour does not seem to exist at all when I try and search for him. So that is it's always a great start.
Is it a double underscore by any chance?
Oh, if it's a double underscore, I'm disqualifying him from the race. I'm not against double underscores, but
I'm just looking at some of the comment section that have came in. We're 7 off 800 subscribers, by the way, which is absolutely phenomenal. I think we had 37 peak viewers as well at any one time, which is absolutely extraordinary for Division 1. We hardly got that last season. It's the Kieran McGinley effect. Kieran leaves, Luke comes in. It's the Luke Etheridge effect, I've got to say, in terms of the commentating. And as Daka has put it, Daniel Hoggard, insanely professional work, lads. Loved it. And Ryan, I will never stop with the XL puns, honestly. I'll never stop with the puns, full stop, honestly. Amazing Hour saying it is a double underscore, so no wonder you can't find him. You're going to have to disqualify him, I think, from the race now. But in terms of the track calendar, let's have a look at where we're going to, of course, next week. And, of course, I believe it is Bahrain that we go to for round 2 of the championship. And then, of course, we go all the way to the 2nd of April for Abu Dhabi. That's probably up on your screen right now. So Bahrain, second round. Then we've got Spain, Baku, Austria, Britain, Italy, Singapore, Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi in terms of the 11 tracks that we've got. And Bahrain next week, it's going to be a real challenge for the drivers. It's going to be, hopefully, a duel in the desert. Are we going to see Amazing Hour, Perpetuum, and Medium Pilot go at it again?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It did look, you've got to say, they looked cleanly the top 3 in that race. A few other drivers seem to have a lot of good pace in qualifying. Who knows what would have happened if Recon and Perpetuum didn't have that contact, because they'd have been very close, and maybe Recon could have got involved in that. But after such a promising qualifying, not just from Recon, from Mashiro as well, it just fell apart for the AlphaTauri drivers, and I'm sure they'll be hoping for a better comeback next time around.
Yeah, we hope so. We hope for the best, of course, for the AlphaTauri team. I'm really pleased to say that we have got our race winner at his home track, nonetheless. LR underscore Amazing Hour here within the commentary box. And Amazing Hour, you were simply amazing out on track. Talk us through your race.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it was that was a real good one, actually. That was a cracker. Qualifying didn't go absolutely to plan. I made a little mistake through the fast chicane there at the end of Sector 2, so that kind of screwed me over a little bit. I don't think I could have threatened the top 3, though. Their pace over one lap was just crazy. But no, when the race started, got down into turn 1, obviously. Bullet Boy outbroke himself and obviously got that damage, which basically took him out of the equation. Then, yeah, really turned into a bit of a 5-car breakaway until the pit stops. Then, I think it was Recon who pulled the trigger first. Then, I think, just making sure I'm not confusing things here, I'm pretty sure it was Medium Pilot, then Perpetuum and myself who responded, even though, couldn't think of what I want to say there. Bloody hell. But, yeah, we come in and then I just saw out of the corner of my eye. I didn't actually see it fully until I got to turn 1, but I saw Recon basically was side by side, and I thought one of them started to get a bit sideways, and I thought, that's going to end well. And then as I come around the corner, I saw, yeah, I saw the AlphaTauri facing the wrong way, and I thought, yep, that's a free spot. So then it was just trying to hunt down the top two. Dirty air on this game though is absolutely horrible, and just trying to make moves or like get right under the rear wing of the guy ahead, you've really just got to wait for a mistake, to be honest. Like for that whole race, I felt like if I could have gotten into some cleaner air, I felt like I might have been able to actually break away. But yeah, there's just nothing I could do. And then obviously about lap 16, 17, after Medium Pilot got through and started to break away, he made a little mistake coming out of turn 4. And he's just gotten up on the exit curve, I think, and it shot him left into the wall and knocked the end plate off. So that pretty much kind of ruined his race. And then it just became a two-car fight, really, between myself and the defending champ. I did have the stream playing next to me, and I could hear you guys going mad that I was actually trying to make moves on him in a couple of times there. And I don't know, if you spoke to some pro drivers, they would probably say there was no real need to go for that. But as I think I heard you say, James, a couple of times, there's always that racer's instinct. You don't want to win it that way. You want to win it on track. And yeah, obviously wasn't quite able to do it. He held me off, so, you know, fair play to him. I don't think I could have done that much more. But yeah, obviously with the penalties, victory comes my way and a win at home, which is very nice. First one on this game as well, which is pretty damn cool.
Really cool indeed, and we've got to talk about that battle with Perpetuum because, as you said, and as I said in commentary as well, it's almost as if Racer's instinct came in. Did you honestly really want that win out on track? Yeah,
I did. I was going for it. I wasn't going to risk like a absolute send from, you know, like half a second back. I was only going to try and pass him if I had like a real good run on him, which I did a few times. But they were all mainly down to him just having little slides or making little mistakes. When he kind of got back into a rhythm there on in the final 2 laps of that race, yeah, the gap just stayed at about half a second, and that's where it stayed. I couldn't get close enough to him, so like I said, a little bit annoyed, but you can't be too disheartened with a home win.
Cannot be disheartened at all. Mr. Luke Etheridge, do we have any questions for our amazing driver?
Yes, we do. Firstly, obviously, congratulations on the win. You've already spoke about how awkward it is in dirty air. When you were stuck in third place in the DRS train, did you ever think at any point, oh, I might be able to go for an overtake at a different corner where there isn't DRS, just to try and force your way up the order?
Not without a mistake from the 2 ahead, to be honest. If it, like I said, the dirty air was just so potent, especially through the low to mid-speed corners. And obviously when you're following someone too, you're kind of a little bit blind, so you're kind of using them as a marker for your turning points as well. So, yeah, I mean, there were probably a few corners where I could have tried to move when it was the 3 of us, but after Perpetuum got that 3 second, I thought, well, okay, if I can stick with him, I know I'm going to jump him. And when I saw Medium Pilot just starting to try and break away, I was tempted to try and make a move, but then I thought, when I saw Perpetuum still had DRS, I thought, no, let's just sit with him. If I go for a move, it's just going to slow both of us down, and yeah, it's just going to be no good. So just let him get back after him, and then obviously, as I said, Medium Pilot made that little error, giving him the damage, and yeah, it turned into a 2-car race after that, and yeah, brought her home. So very, very pleased.
Yeah, bringing them home cleanly as well, always very important. That's what's got you to the win. Bahrain next time around, you feeling pretty confident around that circuit?
Yeah, I am actually. Bahrain's a pretty good track for me. I will personally admit I do need to work on my qualifying. Yeah, I feel like my race pace is pretty good. And like I said with this race today, if I had clean air, I think I might have been able to pick up the pace a bit. So yeah, I'm definitely going to need to go and work on my 1 lap pace a little bit, because at the moment it's good, but not quite good enough.
That's it for the questions.
And I think that sums out that, to be honest, because I was only going to ask about Bahrain, but you've done it for me, Luke. So that's absolutely brilliant. Amazing hour. I will go and let you enjoy your morning, because I know it's like 8 o'clock over there, I think, in Australia.
Yeah, 20 past 8 right now, so I'm going to go have a coffee.
Don't blame you at all. Always have a coffee after a race win, especially at your home track. And that is, of course, Amazing Hour. And thank you, of course, for attending here within the commentary box. That is the end then, I think, with Perpetuum and Medium Pilot not joining. That is the end of tonight's stream for TTML Division 1. Just as a reminder, we have Division 2, Division 3 up for you on Thursday night. Luke, I believe you're alongside Aiden tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Am I mistaken in that?
No, you're not mistaken. The final race of the sprint series, where I'm sure Perpetuum's going to be fairly pumped up now. He's got a pretty good chance alongside Scuba of taking the championship. Brazil and Abu Dhabi will be coming at 8 p.m. tomorrow.
8 p.m. tomorrow, join Aiden and Luke for that. And of course, Division 2 and Division 3. I was going to say it's myself going to be commentating on Division 2, but I'm not. Daniel Hoggard and Michael Edwards are going to be taking you through Division 2. Aiden Carter returns for Division 3 alongside Conti. Division 2 also going to be using the task system as well. And full credit to the guys behind the scenes, to Tom as well, for getting that up and running. And Division 4 and 5, myself and Paco Suarez are reunited from TTML Season 1. We're going to be taking through the Division 4 action this season, and James Boyle, Cadwell 5, of course, is going to be taking through the action for Division 5, and then we all do it all over again. And Sunday, of course, TTML F2, Aiden Carter, who's appearing more times on this channel than me these days, honestly. He's going to be alongside TFI Buck for that race in TTML F2. But I will come to you, Luke Etheridge, for the final thoughts and for your overall drive of the day.
Well, I think it's an easy choice to go for, but when everyone around you is picking up penalties, we saw a lot of penalties in that race. When you're keeping it clean and when you end up going for the win on track, even when you don't need to. Great start from Amazing Hour. I'm sure he'll be looking forward to keep that up next time around.
Yeah, Amazing Hour, I think, gets my drive of the day vote, but really good racing, I think, from Volbeek and from Matthias. Watch out for them too, because they could be just sneaky background contenders as we go through the season. That is it, though, for myself and Luke Etheridge. Please stay and stick to the rules. Please stay safe in this crazy world we all live in. And for the first time, let's try and do what me and Kieran did to end off the stream. I've been James Head.
I've been Luke Etheridge.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Feels so bittersweet, knowing I can leave. You taste like candy, eat you on a Sunday. I can feel the beat of my heart and beats. 'Cause you taste like candy. Tasty. You on a Sunday, feels so bittersweet, knowing I can live. You taste like candy, eat you on a Sunday. I can feel the beat of my heart increase. You don't know what goes on behind these eyes. You don't know the loneliness hidden inside. You don't know I wanna eat you up alive. Come and get to know me, my type of wild. I'm the kind that spins you and hangs you dry. Well, I'm already on to another side. If you gave me your whole life, I would still have room for more. Cause I've got that appetite. Baby, I never feel whole. Though you might get me through the night, but it will never be enough. It will never be enough. Cause I'm a black girl for your love. Cause I'm a black girl for your love. It's true, no, no, no. Everything they say about me, I'll suck you, no, 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 my center of gravity. Cause it's true, no, no, no. Everything they say about me, I'll love you like a supernova, burned into you like a shooting star. Always craving for you to come to me. Though this way of life, no, it ain't healthy, but ain't no other way, it's just what I need. I want all your soul, I want your body. I'm the type that licks her plate clean. Don't wanna let go, wanna you can eat. If you gave me your whole life, I would still have room for more. Cause I've got that appetite. Baby, I never feel whole. You might get me through the night, but it will never be enough. It will never be enough. Cause I'm a black girl for your love. For your love, cause it's true, no, no, no. Everything they say about me, I'll suck you, no, 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 my center of gravity. Cause it's true, no, no, no. Everything they say about me, I'll love you like a supernova, into you like a shooting star. If you give me your whole life, I would still have room for more. Cause I've got that appetite. Baby, I never feel whole. You might get me through the night, but it will never be enough. It will never be enough. Cause I'm a black girl for your love.